The daily, so this is the Monday candle, small wick below, closed bullish, small wick below, took out last week high and then sold off. And the Wednesday was just potential reversal, but actually yesterday was just up again. So my idea is that in the end we create a daily candle moving up and then selling off a bit, causing the weekly candle to have more of a let's say upper wick, because the lower wick we will not go to the lows, I assume, unless there's something big going to happen. But so that there's a move up and then a correction. So selling in the afternoon is my guess. Let's see how that develops. So fast forward 12 hours and more or less what I mentioned in the first part of the video actually turned out to be right. Okay, so I took this trade and I went short here, sold most of it near this wick, and then I left one runner to sell at the low of this position tool. So let's go into the trade, because I'm actually really content. I took one loss earlier this week, of which I also made a video, and for the rest PA was just absolute horror. In a sense, it was very choppy, levels didn't get taken, and if they got taken they would just not provide any sort of reaction. So I've been mostly patient the whole week, and especially today, waiting for this setup to occur. I'm going to quickly or briefly explain it. Okay, so let's just do the replay tool, and I'll start at market open or near market open. Okay, so PA was okay. I mean, if I just look at the Asia and London session, Asia left two relative equal highs. So I actually thought, after seeing this drop, that ES would already be taken in London, but it did not. So this was the first of many SMTs. And I'll just press play, because many times I also try to seek, okay, what can price give to me for me to trade off of. And this was, I think, typical PA for this week. So when we had the open, NQ had a major move up and then sold off, and ES did not have that move. So I always try to look at, okay, so where could I have taken a trade? And if you get really creative, so IFVGs these weeks were almost non-existent at key levels, but breakers were, and changing the state of course as well. But this was a nice breaker that you could have traded off, I think it was of the 2 minutes. Where did you get a good close? No, it was actually off the 1 minute. So based on this you have a breaker, wick above, no close above, but there was a high, close below, retest, and then sell off. But this is honestly, it's not my bread and butter, so I don't do it. So let's just go to the 4 minutes, because obviously price was trending, right? And Q was the one being in charge today, and ES was just mostly lagging, in my opinion, because this was all-time high for ES, and this was already all-time high for, was it all-time high? Yeah, I think so. Let's have a look. Yeah, that was all-time high. So NQ already got all-time high quite quickly, around 10 o'clock, and so I was just watching, okay, will price drop, because there was a beautiful gap below here. I marked the lower end of the gap below. And I was just watching, because I was thinking, okay, so if we get a drop on the lower time frame, let's say the 1 minute or 2 minutes, many times they actually fail because that's just a retest to move further up. So I thought, okay, let's just start with the M3, look at the M4 and M5 to see if there is any confluence, and if there are multiple gaps, I always move one time frame up, so I don't get caught up in the really low time frame, because I mean the trend is just going up, right? So there's no need being hasty or urging yourself into a short when the market is just pushing. Okay, so I was watching this and I was just thinking, okay, we could get a 5 o'clock reversal, maybe price will push into this level, but if I'm not mistaken it didn't do. No. So it actually started chopping, like price was chopping all the time. You could see some levels. MNQ just consolidated back to all-time high. I was thinking, okay, so if we get below this 4 minute level, that would be interesting again. In the meantime, an hourly gap was printed, and here I'm just waiting, right? There were a lot of SMTs printed on the higher time frame, on the lower time frame, on the medium time frame. Is just very, very choppy price action. So if I pause here for a bit, I was just looking and marking out the M4, M5 candles. So this for me still holds. I keep this as a reference point that if price drops, then most likely price will react of a higher time frame level, just to keep myself a bit oriented and not get too caught up in the lower time frame. So here you have like SMT, and this is not an SMT, but these 2 wicks offer an SMT. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, you know, all-time high is so close by that it's going to run, and maybe then it's going to react. So it went really close, and then it just burst through all-time high. And I was thinking, okay, so where will this go? And I actually wanted to go to the gym. We had this one candle down and then a violent candle up again. So now I'm thinking, okay, so now big players are stepping into the market. There is some activity going on. We have some sellers here. It gets bought up but also sold back again. And now in my feeling, I was thinking, okay, so if we have a gap that coincides with ES breaking down from the all-time high again, so that we actually see ES closing below all-time high on the lower time frame level, that would be interesting. But I also want to see like a consistent break. So this was my 4 minute gap. I will mark it. Oh, that's not what I meant. So this is my 4 minute gap. And all the small time frame shit is not relevant. So I was just watching, okay, is this going to give me what I want to see? Yes, it's going to give me what I want to see. Because there's a drop, and at the same time, there was not really a clear gap for ES. But it was clear to me that, especially when such wicks get printed, it offers a really good draw on liquidity. So now I'm watching and I'm thinking, okay, this is good. And why? Because it coincides with the M3, because the M3 had more or less the same level. It also closed below, and it also coincides with the M5. And this is what I love to see, because this is a BPR, right? You want to, it's not, by the way, it's not yet a BPR, it turned out to be a BPR, but I want to see like a violent candle creating the gap, but I also want to preferably see one candle going down, again breaching that gap, and no interactions in between. And of course on the 3 minutes there was interaction, on the 4 minutes there was also interaction, but I looked on the 5 minutes and I thought, okay, this is good. But on the 4 minute was for me the first relevant close, or maybe on the 3 minute I did it. No, I was actually watching on the 4 minutes. So the moment price closed, I took a short. Nowadays I go 1 or 2 ticks below the gap, and I put it above this wick, if I'm not mistaken. And I was thinking, okay, so what is an easy target, or let's a sensible target to make? And I was thinking that's this level. And now I'm actually thinking, because this was not, I don't think, was this my, yeah, this was my level, because I thought this is my first target, and then this is my second target. And what I always do is I put it a few points up, because I don't want to get caught up getting almost there and then seeing price bounce again. So I went into this trade, I got a good fill, and I was thinking, okay, so let's turn on the executions. Oh, it doesn't work when you're running in playback mode. Great. Okay, so this was my entry, and price just went really well, right? So we have this one time it ticked the level again, and then it just stalled off in 3 beautiful candles. And so I got filled here, I got filled here, and I put a runner over here, and I think that was good for 3.7 R. No, actually it was here, 3.7 R. So maybe my stop was a little bit lower. Oh, let's see. So here I got closed out, and actually that was also the point of reversal. And why? Because I was actually monitoring, because ES already went to this level, and this level coincides with this low on the 1 hour. And I was thinking, okay, so ES was actually moving really fast, and the moment it took out this level, I thought, okay, it's good that I have my stop just above. It could have been below this, because I think this was obvious liquidity, but because I was seeing this drop so quickly, I was thinking, okay, this is good enough, like 3.6, 3.7 R, that's just really fine with me. So that was the trade, and that's really nice, really patient, and really content with that. If all is well, then it will, does it show? That's interesting, why doesn't it show my executions? Okay. So if I go to the 1 minute, then you can see it all. So I went in exactly here. I had one exit below, that was my 2.2 R, and there was one exit, I cannot mark it, but that's okay. One exit, I think it was already taken here. And I took one just above the gap, which is perfect trade, perfect exit for my runner. Really content with this, and on to the next. So that actually caused me to end up, because it's my funded account, I had one loss. I took $150 risk, and now I'm up 150, so I'm happy with that. On to the next week, and I hope some better PA.